people and from scientists and researchers, not only here in Australia, but also in my homeland, New Zealand. In the past few years, and particularly since the late 1970s, things have been hotting up with the increase of sightings, abductions, etc. The media, such as newspapers, magazines, and of course television, has increased our awareness of these happenings, and the general public are, as usual, most inquisitive. Take, for instance, the media coverage of UFO sightings in New Zealand dating from the 10th of the 5th, 1996, in the Gisborne area on the east coast of the North Island. It was reported that a man saw what he believes to have been a UFO over Coyote Hill, which is situated on the north-east corner of Gisborne. The report states that the object came from the northwest direction and travelled southeast before breaking up. This was to be the first of many sightings during this particular month, and others included the sightings of a local woman who reported seeing a strange light fall from the sky at approximately 7 o'clock on the same night. The woman was driving along Salisbury Road, which is on the outskirts of Brisbane, along the beach front, basically, where she saw a circular yellow light dropping straight down out to the sea above the breakwater. The woman remarked that it was the size of a street light bulb. 2 further sightings of lights in the sky was reported on the 18th by 2 other people. They saw 2 bright objects. A gentleman in the second sighting reported seeing a yellow object that dropped down in a direct line above the Wainui area, and that he watched this object for at least 5 minutes before it fell out of sight. The woman states she saw this, a similar object with the same characteristics. On the other hand, another couple also reported seeing this object again in the Gisborne area, and they all saw the same object. They all described exactly the same. It all went into the Gisborne harbour. Now, this is Gisborne. Might be good idea. You see there? Oh. Yeah, might have to go by my here. Yeah. Sort of. Don't worry about that. That's the same. This is. This is. Turn it upside down and see it. Yeah, right. Turn it upside down. Yeah, it's no there. Here we are. This is Gisborne. This is probably the Bay Area. Yeah. This is Coyote Hill here. Now the UFOs are seen flying in here. And could you speak to the microphone? Sorry. Yeah, and they land. They go into the sea here, and they're very common that they're seen doing this. And frequently they're seen as street light bulbs. And a local theory has been for a long time, especially for Māori people in Gisborne, that the gods fly into the sea here, very commonly seen. The UFOs hadn't been seen as frequently in Gisborne since the 1977-78 flap, in which saw 50% of Gisborne's population having sightings and numerous cases of close encounters, including my own close encounter with a UFO in various entities out the Waimata Valley, which is there. Oh, I don't know. See, over the past 7 years, there's been an increase in the amount of reported sightings from all over New Zealand, both in the North Island and the South Island. Some of the more recent ones was from a worker in the Alliance textile mill at Oamaru in 1990. He claims to have seen what he described as a UFO in the sky just after 6 a.m. on the morning of May 29th. Hennicone worker claimed to have seen a large bright gold and glowing disc in the sky, which shot away at an angle of 45 degrees. His initial impression was that it was a meteorite or a fireball, but it was going upwards, not coming down. The object, which appeared to be about as big as his fist, moved away rapidly. This man, only wanted to be known as Pete, did not know whether know until he returned to work the next day that another co-worker had also seen this disc. Checks with the police and the Ministry of Transport revealed nothing unusual, as did checks with the New Zealand Air Force. Up in the North Island at Hastings, 4 young people say they watched in awe as a huge UFO flew over them on an isolated stretch of road in the Wairarapa, which is just out of Wellington, on Sunday, the night of the 5th of May 1991. From where they stood, they described it as being the size of 2 Boeing 747 side by side. It had satellite dish-shaped front with box-like structures behind. An intense yellowish-white light was emitted from the front at times, while its perimeter was illuminated by red, green and blue. It cruised past at about 600 to 900 metres above them, taking about 5 seconds before suddenly shooting into the distance. The object was completely silent and at times moved directly, abruptly, moving up, backwards, forwards and sideways. The 4 agreed that what they saw was not a man-made craft, as one of the men was an avionics technician in the Air Force and stated that, "I know my aircraft." This description sounds very much like a mothership because of its size, probably. Another sighting, this time in May 1994 at Whangaparāoa, which is up the top of New Zealand, was reported by Mr. John Marks, who had just been standing on the deck of his Roberts Road home in the morning, early morning. He was startled at suddenly being lit up by a strong beam of light. Looking up, he saw what resembled a large white ball flash across the sky, lighting up each cloud bank as it passed. The whole thing took about 2.5 seconds to cross out of sight, but there was no sound to accompany it. The object was not like a shooting star, as it was beneath the clouds and it estimated to be about 2,000 feet up. The interesting fact about this case was that it was also sighted by others at Matakataia and Red Beach, which again is up north of New Zealand. What was also interesting is that when John rang the police, they put him onto Ardmore Air Base and he was advised to ring the supervisor at Mangere Airport, who proceeded to tell him that there were no organisations in New Zealand that would be very interested in hearing from people seeing anything unusual in the sky, which is a load of codswallop. However, further confirmations on the sightings of strange phenomena seen over the Whangaparāoa Peninsula have been received by Mr. Marks. Since his sightings, he has had 12 confirmations of the same sightings and has had 25 calls about other unusual sightings. Various groups, both in New Zealand and international, have been very interested in Mr. Marks. Some other UFO reports that have come to hand recently are the 1994 sighting on the main highway near Helensville. At 11:30 p.m, a farmer's wife was watching television while her husband was having a shower downstairs, and the lights dimmed almost to off and the TV went off. After brightening up again, they all turned on again, and then they went bright and then went off again. She moved down to the kitchen in the dark and noticed that there were lights outside. Looking through the kitchen window, she noted lights descending, and from the kitchen noticed an object hovering over the fence around the swimming pool, about 40 feet away from the house. Several oblong-shaped lights on the underside of the object glowed orange and flashed on and off, giving the appearance of rotating. Starting to panic, she moved downstairs, noting the object beginning to ascend and move away. Passing the window, she noticed it moving along the direction of the household power lines. When she reached her husband downstairs, the object had moved away from view and he hadn't seen anything. But prior to the sightings, there had been a lot of fluctuations in the power in the house. Now, UFOs are frequently seen to go along power lines and hover around water, they like water, apparently. In 1995, a young couple and a child in Auckland viewed an object hovering ahead of them at about 300 feet from the ground while driving at dusk. Continuing on, they lost sight of the object, but it reappeared again, moving parallel to their car. The object at one point stopped and the young couple got out of the car and saw a circular object. When they resumed their journey and the object followed them, moving in a zigzag pattern. At one time it was directly over their vehicle. The male occupant, putting his head out the window, could see the underside of the car, of the object. A lot of guts there, I'd say. The object frequently flashed coloured lights and beamed an intensely bright light to the ground periodically. It was noiseless except for a low buzz. At times it sped away and other times placing the car on a long stretch of road. Once reaching the motorway, they continued to view the object from a distance for 20 to 30 minutes before it appeared and to depart going upwards. Another case reported was at Tuapaki, which is northwest of Auckland. A woman, while sleeping, was awoken at 2:50 a.m. by a pulsating noise which prompted her to look out the window, and she noticed an egg-shaped object, metallic yellow on top and metallic orange on the bottom, with bands of light around the middle. She felt calmness, serene and without fear. It moved away, slowly bobbing over the trees until out of sight, and then it slid back into view. Then it departed again, bobbing over the trees and out of view. UFOs, that sounds a bit like a balloon, doesn't it? But UFOs quite frequently are seen like that. In fact, my husband and I saw 3 UFOs from our back veranda, and 2 looked like big balloons, and we thought, oh yeah, they were big balloons. And then all of a sudden we saw another one coming over towards it, and it looked like at a distance it could have been a helicopter or something, but it had lights on it, and it was going pretty fast. Then it shot over to these 2 balloons, and the 3 of them went, oh, sorry, straight up into the air and gone. So they weren't balloons, so maybe this lady's wasn't either. Is there any questions? I know I'm not very good at speaking at these sort of meetings, but I'm learning. Thanks, Emily. Today I'm going to take you on a very unbelievable trip down a road that caused me not only fear, but elation. When I say it's unbelievable, I mean I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't been the one who experienced it all. So, here we go. It all started when my sister-in-law and Laura and I were skylifting up the Wamatā Valley. Wamatā Valley is just inland from Gisborne, where I come from, which is... Well, it's not there. Keep going down. There. Okay? Yeah, that's it. No, that's not it. Okay. Well, we were having a bit of fun in the car, quite illegal, but I won't go into that. And anyway, we were having turns at taking each other's drive, and we noticed these people on the side of the hill, and they had a telescope, and so we stopped. We'd heard about UFOs being sighted out the Wamatā, so I thought, oh, we'll go and talk to these people and see what's going on. They were looking for UFOs. Anyway, yeah, we were being nosy too. Anyway, they let me have a look through their telescope, and I saw my first UFOs, which were 3 little starlight objects going across the sky. It was about 11 o'clock at night, and it was a pretty clear night, so it was pretty obvious that they were moving over towards the moon, and then one went behind the moon, one went into the moon, and another one went across, and then a couple of seconds later the 3 of them all got together and then zoomed off, and I thought, wow, my first UFO. This was as far as they don't come any closer than that, surely I didn't know. Anyway, whether they did or not until, we went out, they went home, and we went back to the car, my sister-in-law and I, and we were sitting in the car having a cup of coffee, And there was all around the tree line of this, like a bit of a hill, and there's fence and manuka, or you call them tea trees over here, were growing there, and all these little flashes of light started up, or these like camera lights when they take a photo. They were just sporadically all around through these manuka trees, and then down around by our car. And we were sort of thinking, oh yeah, you know, static electricity, you know, we didn't know what they were. And then we got this prickling feeling coming up our legs, and, you know, up. And I never said anything to Sandy because she's younger than me, and I sort of thought better not frighten her. And it came up high, and sort of having this coffee, looking around, all these lights flashing. Now it's getting up, creeping up and up to my chest, and I really started to panic now. And I turned over to Sandy to tell her, you know, like, is there anything happening to you? And she all of a sudden said, I'm getting out of here. And she tried to get out the door, and I wouldn't let her. And we just went straight out the valley. And she had experienced what I had. I don't know what it was. It stopped when we took off. Anyway, well, that was the first of, I believe, to be my UFO experiences. Yeah, where am I up to? Alright, then we left the Waikato Valley, and not really sure what had happened to us. We never checked on lost time because we didn't know we had to, because we went into UFO business then. And we went to a friend's place called Irene White. Now, Irene's a very methodical thinker, and she always knows everything, at least she thought she did. Anyway, she decided to come out the Waikato Valley with us the next time we went out. And this time we went to the same place, but we turned the car around so we were ready to get out of the valley if we had to in a hurry, you know. And at the same time, about 12 o'clock this time here, and we're sitting there and we're all making ourselves comfy. It's really cold in New Zealand, you know. We've got windows up because it is so cold. And we're starting to steam up and let the cool air sort of, come in again, you know. And then we heard this hum noise coming, and we said, oh, it was really getting louder and louder. And I thought, oh yeah, trucks. There must be, farmers out there getting sheep or something, and they're getting the trucks through. And we were waiting for this truck to turn up, you know. And no truck came, but the noise got louder. And then it went over the top of us. It didn't come up the road, it went over us. And a bright orange light. Well, at this stage we had the windows up because of the cold and the doors were closed. Well, we had to get out of the cars in a hurry to have a look, see what it was. Well, by the time it scrambled out, I noticed everything. And now it was like just vanishing down the valley. So off we went home, and we went home and we started striking to the UFO club that we'd seen a UFO. Well, fortunately, they thought we were little loons. Anyway, fortunately, at the same night, this farmer up the valley had been getting his cattle in ready for the truck to come and get him. And he heard the sound like the truck coming, and he thought, oh yeah, yes, I weren't ready. Anyway, getting angry because he had nothing ready. And he saw this bright orange light, but like in Gisborne, like our valley sort of like run into each other, it's all like this, you know. And you could see this bright orange light going up the next valley along. And we estimated the vehicle travelling about 30 kilometres an hour, and it would probably be about right because the time that he said that he saw the light, with the distance he was away from us, it would have been right if it was travelling 30 kilometres an hour. And he had fortunately rang up the local newspaper, and so we had it verified. Anyway, these people in the UFO club thought, well, maybe they're not quite so batty after all. So they sent out with us this photographer man, a real yuppie, and being a man, of course, I'm sorry, gentlemen, being a man, he was perfect, and he knew what he was doing. Anyway, he was a photographer, professional photographer, and he worked for Candid Camera Craft, you are, who knows all about that. And so he decided to come out and take photos, and he travelled in the car in front of us. And we've just got into the Waimata Valley, and there's this bright red light, just a singular light, really contained one, it didn't sort of like brighten up the area or anything. And it was flashing away, so of course he jammed on the brakes. Out he went, had his camera going to town. And then it went on for a while, so jumped in the car and decided to follow it, go towards it, so we did. And it was actually hovering over the hill we used to, you know, park underneath. So we decided, when we got to it, it disappeared. So we decided to go up there. So we climbed up the hill and we took all our bits and pieces with us. And while we were making ourselves, us girls making ourselves comfortable, this guy was setting up for the show. And as it worked out, it was quite a show. We've been there about half an hour, and straight across from us, about 200 to 300 metres across, which is the hill goes down into where the road is, a bit of a valley, and then up into hills. And this, out the side of one of these hills, it looked like it popped out. It was a UFO, and it was like, it was shaped like that, like a hat. Like a, you know, and it had red flashing lights and green circular lights. And the flashing lights were underneath and the green circular lights on top. And it was there for ages, and this guy was just absolutely ape, you know. He had his camera going to town, I was something bored. And I don't think he thought of us as three bimbos. And we were watching it for a while, and then it started to move off, going towards the beginning of the valley, and the way it was going was sort of like following. So Sandra, my sister-in-law, and I thought, no, we're going to go after it. So we asked these other two, and they wanted, it's Irene and this photographer guy, if they wanted to come and love in their lives. So Sandy and I went down and got in the car, and off we went and chased it. We must have been gone about a mile and a half down the road. And I just happened to turn around, and we had a beam of white light behind the car. And so, of course, I jammed on the brakes, and both of us flew out of the car. And right above us was where this UFO was, up on the side of the hill. So over the fence we went, and we were scrambling up the hill to have a look and see what was going down. And it disappeared. Lights went out just like that. And we waited for a while. No, it didn't come back on again. We couldn't see anything, it seemed. I mean, you don't go hovering around in New Zealand in the dark and not be able to see anything. You might get hurt. So, you know, we went back to the car and we went back to the other guys, and they reckon that the light went out all right, but when our car turned round and started driving back to them, the lights come back on again. So they must have just switched off the lights and on again. With these stupid Kiwi birds. I don't know. But anyway, and then this one stayed there for a while, and then there was a bright, it looked like a moon-shaped object right straight in front of us at the beginning of the valley, and it was getting bigger and bigger and coming towards us. And it got to the size of, say, a 10-cent coin, and then over on the side on the hills come the red UFO, and looping its way over to the 10-cent coin one, disappeared into that, and it disappeared into that one, and then this other fella started moving, went over to the UFO, and then they went up in the sky and gone. So that was my our photographer's exciting experience, and of course he had visions of having his photos and Women's Day, Women's Week, whatever. When he got home and had them developed, they were just milky white and nothing turned out. He was terribly, terribly upset, if you can imagine. Anyway, this yuppie gentleman, he was extremely nice by the way, he gave up everything, absolutely everything. He was well dressed, beautiful car, beautiful wife, lovely house, everything. He gave it all up, walked out of it all, went and lived in the Waikato Valley. I think that's pretty weird, outstanding. And he's not there now, he's in Wellington now. He's given her a all up. So, anyway, Irene and I and Sandra, we decided after all this, we decided to go back out live a car again. And this time, everybody kept saying to us, now look, did you have any time this thing? Well, we didn't know. We didn't know about those sort of things. We really honestly thought that these people that were flying these UFOs and that, they had to be Russians, Americans, somebody sensible, you know. This is 1978 here. And they were all extremely good looking men, really nice. They were nice, cute, you know. If I had known what they looked like, and it wouldn't have been out there. Anyway, we went out there this time. We took a book with us. We had it written down every quarter of an hour. We wrote the times down in this book. And as we got to that time, we'd tick off the time. And we'd only been there, we went out there about 10 o'clock. And we weren't tired because we'd had a rest beforehand, so we really weren't tired. And I always worked night duty, so I was attuned to being awake at night. And the other two girls just were attuned. Anyway, we'd only been there a short period of time, all must have come to it, and we must have gone to sleep. And then, apparently 2 hours later, we woke up. But we didn't just wake up, we all sat up in unison, like robots, just like sat up. And Sandy said, cover everything white. There's going to be a car coming into the valley and they'll have a spotlight. But how the heck she knew, because you couldn't see any lights of a car coming to our street. So sorry about that. This section of our section of the valley. But we did it. We just took her word for it. We just covered everything that was white. Because there's 3 girls on the side of the hill, for goodness sake. Anyway, sure enough, car came into our section of the valley, and they parked actually down the bottom of our hill, and they had a spotlight. They were either getting possums, because in New Zealand they love possum hunting, or they were after little green men, and we weren't going to be those little green men. Anyway, they eventually took off again, and we went back to sleep. 2 hours later, we went all together, and there was a loud crackling sound. And what I can imagine the sound would be like was if the petrol can, you suck the air out of a petrol can. It's that crackling sound. That's all I can think of it. It was down by this house, which is about 2 miles away as the crow flies. And then it was, the sound was up at the back of us, up on this hill. Then it was down by the car. Then it was circling us. And then we were all asleep again. And then 2 hours later, we were all awake again. You remember that in these times we were waking, we're looking at the clock and ticking merrily away. But we're not one sure about what's going on in between time. Anyway, the last time we thought, no, let's get out of here, there's something weird going on. And you had this feeling you weren't the only people there, you know. In fact, we talked about somebody out there. We couldn't see anybody. Like, we had night vision, we could see pretty well, and there was nobody else there but us. Anyway, we bundled everything up and down. We went laughing and joking, so, you know, talking just as a visible person. Maybe it was just dreaming, I don't know. And we got down to the bottom of the hill, and there was a revolting smell of rotten eggs that went like, I mean, totally putrid. If you've ever been to New Zealand, check out Rotorua, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's a little bit stronger, actually. And anyway, so we moved straight off into the car because of the stench, which was pretty putrid, as I said. And we're sitting there saying, well, what the hell happened to us? You know, we had the light on and looking at these times and ticking. What happened? Nobody knew. We weren't tired. And we were just sitting there, and you could hear where we were parked was where the council had cut off this corner of this road because it's pretty dangerous. And we were using it for a car park. And the gravel was really big pieces of gravel, and there was grass growing through it. And you could hear the sound of somebody walking around the car, like really, like with heavy boots, crunching sound, you know. And it was so obvious, and you couldn't see anybody. There was nothing out there. Someone said, oh, it was a dog. I mean, like, there was no dog. There was nothing. And it was just going around, and it would stop at each one of us. Poor old Irene sitting in the back seat, you know, like she was really worried, because you could only get in from the outside, and we were on a Viva estate, and you had to open it from the outside, and the poor thing was stuck. She was a really rather large lady, and she was stuck. And this thing stood at the end, and so it's like looking in at her. And in fact, if you've ever been in a dark room, and somebody walks in and you can't see them because it's so dark, you know where they are. It's sort of like, or if somebody behind you staring at you, and there might be 10 or 12 people there, but you look around and you look straight at the person staring at you. But that was this feeling, was that whoever it was, you could steer them. You knew that where they were, and you were staring straight in their eyes. And if that's the case, if I was staring in their eyes, they were pretty short people. Anyway, we went out, we headed off out because we couldn't understand what was going down. Things were a bit strange, they were wrong. And as we were going out the Waimatar, we got to the top of the last hill, which is Grace Bush Hill. And as I was coasting down, this weird thing shot out of the valley. It was really big, and it was, I say it was like an egg. It was shaped, you know, when you drop an egg, you got the round bit and a little bit of that stuff, yeah, you know, albumin, and it looks sort of round like that, and that's what it was like. It was, the middle of it was bright red, then it went up orange, then yellow, and then white. And the white was blinding white. So white, it gave you a really, really, really bad headache. And it shot out of the valley, and it went up. And it made everybody really sick. But the funny thing was, my car was going downhill, okay? And I didn't have the brakes on, nothing, I wasn't about to stop, but the car did. And the lights in the car went out, everything went out, the engine stopped. I'm freaking here, eh? I didn't have my foot on the brake. It was really, really, everything was so freaky. But that was the start of my UFO experience, and I don't think I have enough time for any more. Do I? Oh my God. Anyway, we got a really humongous headache out of that fella. And there was, I mean, I was hypnotised about that time missing one. Because for a long time after that, I used to get really bad dreams. I mean, quite nasty dreams actually. But I can handle that now. That doesn't bother me anymore. Well, I suppose I'm going to just tell you about the rest of them. Some really, really... There was a lot of other UFO sightings we had. Like, I used to be a nurse at the Gisborne Hospital. And I did, as I say, full-time night duty. And I used to take all these nurses out from the hospital. They used to go out there running around the hills looking for UFOs. And then another time, get this though, this is really good, I reckon. We popped in at the pub on the way out because I wanted to see a friend who'd come in on a boat. I was a shippy, I suppose. And anyway, he was a sailor in the Navy. And all these sailors were there, all their uniforms and everything, you know. And I was talking to this guy and I said, you know, I'm heading off out to Waimata Valley. I didn't know why. And I said, oh, going to check out UFOs. And my mate, Sandy, was asking all about, one of the guys was a radar operator and they hadn't seen any UFOs, and of course they weren't going to tell us anything. Anyway, then they decided they were going to come with us. And there's a couple of guys there, Maori guys there, they had cars, you know. So all these sailors came out to Waimata. They had sailors running all over the hills. I mean, any poor farmer that saw that, I thought, oh, God, do you think there was aliens about all right? Blue and white outfits. But we never saw any UFOs that night. But there were numerous UFOs that we saw, that I saw. Does anybody want to ask me questions? I want to go home.
I think I get a few questions. Turn the lights on.
No.
When you were camping and raising all the times, and you kept waking up, remember that time? You kept waking up and falling asleep each time?
Yeah.
Did you have trouble falling asleep?
No.
What, you just woke up, wrote down the things and then went back to sleep? So was at the time, did you lose time? Did you sort of think, when you woke up again, you thought you were sleeping, but actually you hadn't slept?
I didn't realise that we'd been asleep. It wasn't until we checked our quarter man dogs that we realised that something fishy had been missing.
So you probably weren't sleeping, you thought you were.
I don't know. Not according to the hypnosis.
Not according to.
Not according to.
Do you know if there's recent sightings there just now?
Aye?
Do you know if there's recent sightings in that valley just now?
No.
In the last couple of years?
Oh, probably. I don't know, because I'm not there. Gisborne people are really thick.
Any other questions?
You shot about 3 or 4 sightings contained in that one area. Like, did you go there like every once a month or every couple of weeks or?
It became an addiction. I became addicted to it. The three of us actually.
So you've gone there, okay, sort of 3 or 3 times and you've had 3 sightings in the same area, is that correct? Is that?
Yeah, I've had a lot of sightings in the same area. But those 3 are the closest encounters that I think, that I know of.
Was this the same area that you were talking about this morning?
Yeah.
Is the same, exactly the same way you said?
Not exactly the same.
Maori legends about...
oh, yeah, Gisborne, yeah.
Is that the same area that concerned the Maori legends?
Yeah. Maoris have very interesting, well, I suppose they don't really believe in UFOs as such. That there's gods and that, I suppose, go not fishing actually, they just disappear into the sea. And that's off Gisborne. And Gisborne's the place, Waimata Valley's inland from Gisborne, not far inland. A lot of UFOs are seen around there. A lot.
Beverly, you mentioned that you had some hypnosis.
Yeah.
Do you believe that was carried out in a competent manner?
Well, I don't know.
Anyway, did it reveal anything in addition to what you've told us?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And do you wish to go into that at all?
Well, prior to me having a hypnosis, I used to have dreams that were really colourful and very, very bizarre. When I saw these UFOs, I honestly thought that they were humans that drove them, you know? I didn't think that they would be little men with big eyes, you know, what you have probably been told most people see them. That's basically what I saw. I didn't see anything out, nothing special, according to my hypnosis. Under the hypnosis, this guy, I don't know how I got on board this ship, and I was there, my sister-in-law was there, Sandy, she was on the bed. They were doing, I assume, was it a gynecological examination, because they were all down one end of the bed. There were two little greys. There was one that was grey, but he was stumpier build, and he didn't sort of like have the same, it looked like his bone structure wasn't as delicate as the greys, but he was the same colour and he had the same eyes and the same shaped nose and mouth. But maybe he was overweight. But, and they were worried about her. I'm standing here, swearing my head off at them for touching her, but she didn't seem to be terribly worried. She was just lying there, you know, she was asleep. And then I'm standing here, and apparently I don't think I could move. I mean, I must have just been able to stand here, I don't know. Because I know that if I could move, those guys would be needing cranial surgery. Because I really mean it, I mean, you know. But I couldn't move. And then there was this other guy come up, and he was taller and bigger build, but he was taller. He wasn't as skinny as the little fellas, the little ones. And same shaped face and all that, you know, the head, as the greys, but he was fair skinned. And he came over and he was talking to me, but he doesn't talk through the mouth, you know, like me, motor mouth. He,
telepathy?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. And I knew what he was saying, but he didn't move, open his mouth, didn't talk. Just had a little wee mouth and nose, like he had the cartilage all missing off his nose, that sort of, it's only a little wee nose. And these big eyes, I call them wraparound eyes. And I don't think he had any ears, because I can't remember ears and I can't remember hands, but I do know that he looked sort of like had clothes on. They all had clothes on, but he had sort of clothes on and like a full-on suit with boots connected to the trousers.
What colour were the boots?
Same colour as his trousers. And top, the sort of creamy colour. They wore cream, but his skin was all white.
It's just that there's one case with a particular series of incidents where one of the aliens was wearing a white suit but had red boots. That was all.
Martin? I don't know.
If these experiences still follow you, you know, I mean, like you used to go to that same place to see the UFOs quite often. If you go somewhere else now on your own, do you still have these visitations? Do they tend to follow you around?
Oh, I've seen them over here. I don't go out of my way to look for them.
You're not, do you have any abductions now, or is it just finished?
I think I might do. I call it lift off. But it's like if you're like relaxed at home, you know, and then you sort of feel this really weird feeling. It's like sort of, maybe I'm just astral traveling. I don't know.
Doesn't frighten you?
Not anymore, no. It didn't frighten me back then, otherwise I wouldn't have chased that UFO.
Why doesn't it frighten you anymore? Do you have feelings from them that they're not here to harm you, or do you...
I don't think they, you know, I don't need to give me feelings, because if they were going to harm me, I wouldn't be here. There was this guy in Gisborne, mate, and he disappeared. Yeah.
Never to be seen again?
Eh?
Never to be seen again?
No, car the lot. They had the Air Force and everything out looking for him. 50-mile radius of the Waimata Valley, never found him. And all his money's still in the bank, and his mother and father were politicians, and a minor scale, so he wouldn't get shot. Anyway, and he was going out to Waimata to see his mate. Never been seen since. Scary, eh? It wasn't it? They must have wanted him, didn't they?
Final question from anywhere? One last question up the top.
Yeah, I was wondering, do these memories of abduction, they require hypnosis on every occasion? Or does anybody just spontaneously remember without hypnosis being taken? Does anybody know? It seems that there's hypnosis.
I can answer that. I've met a few people that have had contact with greys and stuff, and when I brought the subject up there and started talking to them, they begin to recall it. It's kind of like a memory that's been forgotten, and by talking about it, it's refreshed.
Yeah. You don't have to have hypnosis, but it does help.
So you could remember this without hypnosis, or did you have
I thought they were dreams.
You were dreaming.
I thought they were nightmares, actually. You know?
If you weren't frightened, if you said you were never frightened, how come there were nightmares?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not frightened. And this, like in my dreams, they were frightening.
What frightened you in your dream?
I don't know. I just woke up, I had horrible taste in my mouth. I just felt something really awful had happened, and I would dream of, like, I'd see the faces of these aliens and that, you know, and they were frightening. I don't know what they did to me. I really don't.
Absolutely. Last question on this side.
Beverly, two things. Do you have any children, and do you think that any fetus or anything has been taken from you?
Oh, stress, I don't know. I've got kids. Yeah. They all been abducted. They don't like talking about it simply because they think it's, you don't do that, you know, like, they don't want to be told they're screwed up by their peers, I suppose, which is understandable. And you're all hippies.
If I could just add to that, it's almost, a lady asked a question at the back there, it's almost as if they put a memory block on you, but it seems to wear off, or some people have said that they're just not meant to remember things at that time, but they're meant to remember things as time goes on. So it's either it's been purposely, the mind purposely lets out that information later, or it's just their system of blocking someone's mind seems to wear out. I'm not sure, but it seems to be a common feedback. A lot of people say that I'm just not meant to remember more at this time. Would that be the same, do you think, with you?
Alzheimer's?
Oh. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please thank Bev Parsons.